So I just watched Halloween Kills. Oh, by the way, spoilers. And honestly, I had a pretty good time. Sadly, I didn't think it was as good as Halloween 2018, but regardless, this movie killed it. So I wanted to quickly analyze this movie and its ending, because it's October 15th and I'm in the mood for analyzing something spooky. So let's just get into it. In 1978, Michael Myers hunted down Laurie and killed a bunch of teenagers. Then, Michael went on to kill a whole bunch of other people for all these decades. But then the studios were like, hey, let's get rid of those other cash grab sequels and start fresh with some more cash grab sequels, as David Gordon Green reset the timeline of the series by making Halloween 2018 a direct sequel to the original Halloween. And don't get me wrong, I really liked Halloween 2018. I think my favorite scene from that film was the one-shotter where Michael grabbed the hammer and started doing what he does best. I love when horror scenes play out in real time. I think that's why I liked the first Halloween so much, because they weren't afraid to take their time with the pacing of it. So the long, drawn-out scenes of Laurie running from Michael made you feel like you were actually with her, almost like you're also getting chased by this mask-wearing serial killer. So just a quick recap. 40 years after surviving her encounter with Michael, Laurie Strode has spent her time fortifying her house and training her daughter Karen and herself in self-defense. These extreme measures were done so they could protect themselves just in case Michael came back. And spoilers, he does. He does. Karen ends up resenting her mother, thinking that she was crazy for how she raised her. But after Michael ends up escaping from captivity and starts all this killing again, Karen learns that the only reason her mother survives in these situations is because she thinks practically about everything and takes the right precautions, which is why she is still alive. Unlike another angry mob I know, but we'll get to all of you in a second. I am just disappointed. In her fortified house, Laurie successfully traps Michael and then burns the house down, but the fire department is called to the house, causing Michael to escape. We start Halloween Kills in the year 1978, immediately after the events of the first film. Officer Hawkins and his fellow officer pursue Michael and track him down to the Myers home. They come across the dead dog, the same one Michael was potentially feeding on earlier that night. Because when Dr. Loomis and Officer Brackett came across this dog, Loomis claims that Michael got hungry. With that said, there are a lot of parallels between Halloween Kills and the original Halloween. In the first film, when Michael goes to kill his sister, he first approaches the front door of the house, then peeks in through the side windows, finally making his way into the house by entering through the back door. Meaning that in this scene with Big John and Little John, where Michael is going back and forth between the front door and back door, Michael is probably just observing them the same way that he watched his sister and her boyfriend by looking through the side windows. By the way, did anyone else appreciate the fact that Big John had a small knife and Little John had a big knife? That is just, I also thought it was weirdly endearing how Michael saw this picture of the two of them and then later arranged their dead bodies to match the photograph. But then again, I'm a hopeless romantic. In this deleted scene from Halloween 2018, Laurie is doing some target practice. She takes what looks like a standard issue police pistol, a Smith & Wesson revolver from the 70s, and then shoots a mannequin in the head. The film then lingers on the shot of the mannequin with a bullet gone straight through its head, implying that in this timeline, a bullet to the head may really be the one way to kill Michael. It really is a you should have gone for the head situation. Karen missed her opportunity to stab him in the head when the mob attacked him, as she just ended up stabbing him in the back, and the other members of the group only shot him in the chest. This adds significance to the scene where Hawkins stops Loomis from executing Michael on the spot, something that would have most likely worked as Loomis wielded a similar gun that Laurie had in this deleted scene. And guess what? He was aiming for the head. In the flashback with Hawkins, Michael ends up standing in front of the house and getting arrested by police. This shot of him standing outside and getting caught for murder is filmed the same way as the time he was caught for murdering his sister Judith. Then at the end of Halloween Kills, Michael must have ended up avoiding the crowd in front of the house by sneaking through that back door again, giving him the opportunity to stab Karen in the same room he murdered his sister in. These similarities are less capitalizing on nostalgia, but more of giving us some insight as to how Michael operates and the way that he thinks. It's almost like Michael is performing a ritual. Hawkins shot his partner, and that was enough for Michael. Michael didn't even have to be the one to kill the officer. Just knowing that someone was bleeding out in the same spot he killed Judith was good enough for him to relive what happened in 63. He proceeds to go downstairs and give himself up to fully recreate that night. And luckily for Michael, when he murders Karen, the room even has a makeup table and a mirror, like the one his sister had. It's said throughout this saga that Michael is coming for Laurie, and that Michael and her won't rest until the other one is dead. But Laurie then comes to the conclusion that the doctor led Michael to Laurie's house in 2018. Lonnie even notices that Michael was moving from Laurie's compound to the victims in her neighborhood and then to the park, making a straight line to Michael's childhood home. And on his way there, he kills a lot of people and does things like turn someone's head into a jack-o'-lantern, as one was placed below his sister's window the night he killed her. So a few months ago, apparently the script for Halloween Kills was leaked on the internet, and I may or may have not read it. Okay, I definitely read it. In this original script that was leaked, Karen spots a young boy in a clown costume looking outside of Judith's window and follows him into the house. When Karen reaches Judith's room and stares out the window, Michael is creeping from behind like he was in the original movie, as they were originally going to do a POV. And the similarities don't stop there. After he murders Karen, it's described in the script that Karen is eerily lying in the same exact spot that Judith Myers died in. Then, Laurie calls Karen on the phone, but due to the fact that Karen is dead, she is unable to pick up at this time. So Michael just politely reaches down and answers the phone. But like the big ol' weirdo he is, he says nothing, and Laurie hears the familiar heavy breathing sounds from Michael. After realizing that her daughter is probably dead, Laurie takes a moment and then tells Michael, "Run. Run as far as you possibly can. I'm coming for you. I'm never going to stop coming for you until I put you in the ground and send you back to hell." Then she walks out of the hospital through the crowd of people with the knife that Allison gave her. Freeze frame on the knife. I feel like that freeze frame on the knife would have been really symbolic of the main theme of this film, that everyone is essentially becoming monsters, as we see an unstable and raging crowd trying to go after Michael. But what ends up happening is that this angry mob is then responsible for the death of a psychiatric patient. This ending of the script was most likely the original ending of the film. The film's director, David Gordon Green, announced that the original ending is going to be released on Blu-ray whenever that comes out. In his interview with Collider, he gave his reasoning for cutting this ending scene, claiming, "We ended up lifting it when I became more confident of where we're going to pick up in the next movie. It felt it didn't feel authentic to where we're going to go. I'm curious why they would cut this original ending, but I guess in 2022 we'll see what happens with Halloween Ends. And maybe in that film it will actually end. I guess we'll also see Lindsay in the next film, since she didn't die in this one. She just kind of disappeared for the last half of the film." That's everything I have to say so far about Halloween Kills. I haven't really gotten in the Halloween mood yet this year, so I am really glad that this film came out midway through October, because I'm probably gonna have a Halloween marathon now, and I am definitely gonna find a way to fit Hocus Pocus in there at some point. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next Ending Explained.